Hello friends, hello loyal audience. Today is video number 5 on my commentary on the matrix, or the matrix dissected or unloaded, right? So there's a couple of points I want to make before I proceed, and that is here when he receives him, he says something to him. Notice.
Please come. Sit.
That's sit, dog, sit, dog. You know, that's what he was telling him here. Sit. He didn't say sit down, please. Or, I mean, I never heard the word sit being said to anyone except a dog, right? So here I should have mentioned by gesture to the figures I'm talking about. So this one here is the devil sitting on the globe. You get it? And that's Morpheus. And then within, if you look closely, here, about this here, as if a piano player, a person without a head or headless person sitting down on a bench playing the piano, but it's covered also with shroud, you know. And then here, it'll come closer. As you can see above that machine, there is the headless human being or figure. It's sitting on the wall, but here it does appear, so it will blend with the wall, so you won't notice it, but your unconscious will. He's sitting on top of that machine. What that means, it's copper tub, meaningly you're headless, but you're a copper battery that is producing energy for Morpheus or shapeshifter. That I will explain later, what copper tub, or I will speculate on what copper tub means. But again, you can see here, there is a shrouded figure, headless shrouded figure, and okay. All right, now to explain this room, and this room seems to me to be, there are too many gadgets, too much technology here. As I mentioned, if you look here, there is some kind of a hadron collider or collider, like such as in not far from here, Belmont, Illinois. So there's a hadron collider that is, I don't know what they do there, but the hadron collider has something to do with magnetism or transporting materials or genetic materials somehow remotely, teleporting, I think it's called, or something of the sort. And there are all kind of gadgets. What that is telling you is that there is something in preparation for a process or a surgery or something of the sort that will be carried out on Neo himself, right? So Neo here has just entered a room where he can no longer emerge. In fact, as I told you, red pill or blue pill, had he taken either one of them, he would not be able to leave.
Please take a seat.
Take a seat. Jacket off. Not jacket off, sorry. Jacket off. This seems, weird to me. I mean, from what I heard and watched about those Masonic temples and initiations and so on, seems to be all fake to me. They blindfold someone and they put sword on their shoulder, probably to when they're blindfolded, so they won't see, and that's when their head falls by a stroke of the sword or strike of the sword. But the technology here is just beyond me. I don't know what that is, but I will find out in a little bit. What are these all these gadgets? Telephone communications, which are the communications that they use to teleport or transport from one place to from one dimension to another. Maybe that's what they're doing. They're transporting some of Neo's genetic materials from one or from this dimension to the other dimension. Notice the look on Neo's face. She didn't answer. He said, "Did you do this?" She said, "Mm-hmm." She didn't answer. She didn't say yes. What does "did you do this" mean? Did you do this? She's doing that to him. You see, they play the words and expressions. So when Morpheus said the truth, uh, yes and no. He told him the truth as he sees the truth that Neo is born to be his serf, his serf, SERF, or owned, or pawn, or something, or even flesh and blood and whatnot.
The pill you took is part of the trace program.
Pill you took is part of the trace program. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Does it mean like the newly created, supposedly we heard about that, supposedly we heard about the chip that is developed by Musk to be inserted in the head or something of the sort?
It's designed.
It designed to it disrupts your carrier signal so we can pinpoint your location. You want to understand this unless I explain it to you. Disrupt your carrier signal means his nervous system. His nervous system will be disabled in a little bit, and so we can pinpoint your location, meaning you just sit down and can't move anymore.
Disrupt your outdoor carrier signal so you can pinpoint your location.
Now he's very frank with him. Still a little bit vague and subtle, but Neo is as dumb as it gets. Even if he did realize what's going on now, it's too late, right?
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
It means buckle.
Really? I mean, they never answer. It means buckle yourself. I'm sorry. It means buckle your seatbelt. Dorothy, remember? The Wizard of Oz, I think. Yeah, Dorothy.
It's Kansas. It's going bye-bye.
That's this life, Kansas or himself. Bye-bye. She smiled at him. Now he's inquisitive. He sees that he's in a corner or he's in a cage or something of the sort. Similar to a cat or animal when they enter an unfamiliar place, they're hesitant and they begin to be suspicious, but nothing they can do about it. And they're confused, so they want to continue, right? But a dog wants to continue because there's the promise of food and shelter and warmth and but he's not sure. Notice what's happening to him. The drug or the poison or the thing that he took in the glass of water and in the pill that is contained in the glass of water and in the pill, that combination now is beginning to destroy his brain. And he feels it. Too late, right? Why are these sensors attached to him, such as in a hospital? Because when his brain is dead, physically speaking, when his brain dies, they want to make sure that his heart is still beating. Just like, this is what's called an induced coma, right? Induced coma means, his brain is dead, but his heart and body is still functioning. Could it be a temporary coma? I doubt it. For what they want to do, it's possible, right? They want to induced coma. For all I know, I think there's some time when I remember things. Maybe I was there as well, right? Like in my house. I remember one time, right in the middle of the night, hearing a buzzer, like industrial alarm system going off. There's nothing like that in my house. But it was not strong enough it was strong enough, but it didn't wake me up, and you never know, right? But this guy here, from what we're going to see, he's not going to wake up. Now his brain is being destroyed slowly but surely. Notice how everybody is watching him. Now, if this was just a normal Masonic initiation as we read about it or we hear about it or watch videos and stuff, why all that? He's becoming like his brain is being split. It's broken like glass. His brain is broken like glass. And he sees himself being broken. See? Did you see that smile on Morpheus or Shapeshifter's face, Rabbi Morpheus? When he took the pill, that slyly, he smiled slyly. Oh, sly fox, sly vixens, right? And uh, and wily. You're watching him, see? For them, it's, whenever they never get tired of watching this time and again, as Neos or neophytes, right? Enter their dark place and then get destroyed and killed and so on. It's always, that's like their entertainment. It's their soap opera, if you will.
Have you ever had a dream that you were so sure was real?
It's real. That's what he's telling you. You think you're dreaming, but it's real. What's happening to you is real. That's what he's just telling him that.
What if it was?
What if you were unable to wake from that dream? Really? You see, I just explained it to you. That's it. He's gone. So did Morpheus renege? Rabbi Morpheus renege on his deal? No, he was basically reeling him in, luring him with a bait and reeling him in. And what do you do with the fish after you catch it? You let it go? Well, if you're in for a sport. But these guys never let go any fish.
How would you know the difference before?
How would you know the difference between the real world and the dream world? This here, this sick book of instructions of how to torment the human and like use them and abuse them psychologically and physically and to transport them from real life into something weird, to something deadly. Nor will they allow them to die, right? They kill their brain. Folks, I thought I read some evil books. Huh. This book is sick, folks. Rabbi Jane Brodiard. Oh. So real world and dream world. Could it be that they've just transported him into a world of simulation or magic or dissimulation or something of the sort? I don't think so. He's just dying, right? Now his vision is distorted. His senses are getting destroyed, and his brain is imploding basically here and there, here and there, there and then.
It's going into replication.
Going into replication. Replication. I try to understand here, what does replication mean? Replication? What does replication mean? Well, replication means cloning, right? And as I told you in this book here, which is one of the main sources of this movie, there's a cloning chapter, right? On cloning, right? It's called a clone story. In the clone story, he shows you how to clone a human being, what he's talking about, really cloning a human being. And here, this was published in 1981 or 1982, or 1981 written about that time. And he says in it, he states that few months back, the first cloned human was, the first human was cloned. What the heck? That's when I landed in the United States, 1981, February 11, 1981, right? Oh man, whew. Oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Going into replication. Where is the replication also sourced from? If you remember Philip Dick, The Replicants, or no, Blade Runner. The movie is called Blade Runner. Rutger Hauer and Harrison Ford. And they are replicants, but they live only for 4 years, right? So when at one point there is a chase, Rutger Hauer leaps way over the street into the other building, right? But Harrison Ford also makes a leap because he's running away. However, Rutger Hauer, being that replicant, right, grabs him from the hand. He prevents him from falling. Why? Because they live for 4 years, but the new model, his new model, lives longer than that, and he wants him, and he wants her to have a husband so she can reproduce, right? Uh, so he sacrificed himself or rescued Harrison Ford, and so on. So, but what he's talking about there in that movie, I hope it's imaginary though, is that there are replicants. So now they're replicating him, but how? Cloning, still nothing. They're trying to transfer his genes, I believe, through that hadron collider or magnetism or something from one dimension into another. Could it be a replication that while you're living, while you're alive, you have a replica somewhere, like in the other dimension? Possibly that's what they mean by it, but I doubt it. It's cold. What is cold? I'll tell you what cold is here. I remember watching one of those reality TV shows, and this guy gets robbed in the store, and he gets shot, right? And he starts bleeding profusely. So he called the 911 himself, 911, and he was talking to the operator on the other end. And she was gonna send him help and so on and so forth. But he tells her, that he knew he was dying, that he loves his wife, but he also said, I'm getting cold, I'm getting cold, I'm getting cold. Because when you lose blood, your sensation is still operational, your nervous system still operates, but now it feels very cold. Why? Because the blood, which warms us by energy and so on, is no longer feeding those mitochondria or cells or energy factory. That's what's happening to him. He's dying. Now he's totally gone. Tank, you need the signal soon. So what is the signal? The signal, I think, I am hopeful that's not the case, but I have evidence now that there is such thing, that they extract genetic material from you and teleport it somewhere. Maybe to another planet, I don't know. All right, he needs a signal soon. What is that there? I showed you what the agents or angels put in him. Remember that sperm? That bug that they put on his belly button, that entered them through his belly button. Here, I am seeing a sperm as well. That's all I'm seeing. Look, look, look. This is a sperm, right? So now they're taking his sperm. While they destroyed his mind and put him in a coma. Guess what? They're taking his sperms. Fibrillation, that's heartbeat, right? I got fibrillation, so his heart, maybe defibrillator, maybe what the apparatus in there after they destroy his mind, they want to make sure that his heart is still beating, so they fibrillate him. APAC. What is APAC? I think there's an APAC, AIPAC, that's like American Israeli Assistance or whatever it is. APAC, I don't know. APAC, I don't know. All right. I am seeing a uterus here. That's all I'm seeing. This is a uterus or fallopian tube, right? That's what where the sperm goes to fertilize an embryo. Am I wrong? I'm not wrong, right? So here, and there's a number, 33527165. Add them up. I don't know what they need. You can work it out or something of the sort, but I don't want to do that. But as you can see, here there is that fallopian tube. Looks like it to me. So what happened here is they destroyed his brain. Right now he's in a veggie. He's a veggie or in a vegetative state. But his sperms are being extracted. You know what? Sometimes what they do is extract sperms through a woman. Right? I've seen this before. And they collect it and they take it and they fertilize eggs or they fertilize embryos with it. So you may have like many children, but you don't know about it. I got bad news for you, Kukowskis. The architects you're talking about? He's got like one giant account. He wants those sperms back and embryos and whatever came out of them too. From the beginning, from A to Z, from the beginning until the end. Oh, no. Nobody's getting away with that. Nobody. So that's it. He's almost done.
He's going into arrest.
He's going into arrest. What is the arrest? Cardiac arrest, meaning his heart is about to stop. That's it. His brain is dead. I don't know how they know. If that's how you feel when your brain dies and you become a vegan, I don't know. Now he's electronic. Alright. He's in a pod now. To understand the rest of the movie, I'm going to tell you something right here. This here is a clone. This is not Neo. Neo is no longer around. The Neo you're going to see now is a clone of him. So this is the clone. No longer Neo. The Neo that walked into that Masonic place is no longer around. He's sitting probably on a table. And this guy here, Brody Rabbi Morpheus, another Morpheus, Brody, right? He explains about how that he wants to reduce us by cuttings like plants and flowers. You cut a stem and then you plant it, and it goes into a new flower, a new plant, right? So that's how much they have, how much hate and how much torment they have plans for us here. This is it, right there and then. The guy is a clone, right there and then. What do these connections mean? These connections, if you see their places, the one in the back of the head is the clone has control over his head. This Neo, or this new Neo or clone Neo, they control his head by way of being from behind, right? Being from behind, meaningly they control his brain. So this Neo is void of knowledge, void of intelligence, void of understanding, void of just about everything. Why? Because he's a machine, right? He's a replica of Neo, the human Neo, who is now gone, right? Or probably still laying on a table and they're siphoning off his sperms. Or probably any other genetic material. Now, Brody says that when they clone from a cell, we grow into a human being. So the code of the human, as we created, it's all contained within the DNA of one cell. He's wrong. Anyway, this here, the ones on the so here are the points of control. So every connection or every hole that he has in his body is controlled. So the back of his head, so they won't be seen, right? Rabbi Morpheus won't be seen, but he controls the head. The other controls is the spine, his movement. Their spine connections. They control his movement, where he goes and so on. The one he pulled out of his mouth, they control his food, right? And notice there's like plenty of blood here. So he was in a place of like red pill, right? Red pill. Here he's gulping that matter in the red pill. And notice the 6-pointed star here. Guess what? Morpheus is a rabbi. Zion, Jewish, right? So now here, his arms, are what he uses his arms for. So really, what this is all about is that they control everything in him, including his thought. They control his movement, his thought, his, everything that he is. So these connections means that. So he's a clone. He's now a clone. Supposedly, if he is a clone like this, like directly same size, same age, or whatever it is, so he may have residual images or residual understanding or thinking or something of the sort. So he's not completely dead. He inherited some from Neo. Aha. Remember. Millions and millions, right? So the Neo, human Neo that walked into that Masonic place, has been cloned into millions of sperms. You know how we men of human beings, not the Rabbi Morpheus shapeshifters and so on. We produce billions of sperms, like billions and billions of sperms. So that's what they're saying. This Neo has like billions of generated millions of Neos. You will see it later when Morpheus says AI spawned an entire race of machines, right? That's what he means here, being cloned into millions. There you go, right? And the sparks here, the lightning, which means there's so much energy out of those clones. Energy, I'm going to explain to you that now maybe. I'm speculating. I don't think we are good for producing electricity or energy. That doesn't make sense, One nuclear reactor can produce as much energy as like an entire planet. Uh, uh, so are they talking about electricity? I don't think so. What they're talking about is the unconscious energy. Maybe those devils, the Morpheus and whoever it is, they cannot exist, but they remotely siphon off or suck up the energy from us, from our brains, right? That's what I think he means by that. The other thing is, I think they mean like inventions, ideas. We're the thinkers, right? Morpheus, as he will explain later, they cannot do what we human beings can do. So the irony is their sense of fate is not without the sense of irony, right? So they need us, right? But that's how they use us. Are we smarter than them? Yeah, we humans are smarter than them. But guess what? They have developed some sinister methodology in trapping us, and not just trapping us. From what I'm reading from this book and other books as well, right? Folks, to say it's it's worrying and disturbing is an understatement. If they're doing to us what this guy is saying, they're doing to us, right? I mean, to me, it's like horrifying. It's horror. And if I was there, I don't know. I mean, you see what I'm saying, right? But we'll continue. These are from Neo. Neo generated all that. Why? Because we generate billions of sperms. What is that? I don't know what that is. It's a sentinel, it's a machine. I don't know. Really, I don't know what the heck it is. But it seems to me like evil enough. It's inspecting him, right? And there is no comfort here. Control is heavy-handed. It's enforced. It's painful. Control is. Notice. Where do you think you were born into, right? Now notice here, you will see there is a syringe, right? The syringe and the needle. I don't see if she or if that machine gave it or inserted it into him, but I don't know. Maybe that's the other dose that basically voids his brain of real functionality, like freedom, like independence, like pride, like whatever it is. I don't know, but here they don't show you that this syringe has been inserted into him, or whether he was stabbed by that syringe or that needle. Wow, that hurts. Ah, he's ready to go, right? The clone, this is not Neo again. And they dump him into the sewer. The sewer has significance, very big significance. I will explain it later. Notice he left from the red pot, blood, or whatever that fluid is, and now he's all blue. Remember the police officers with those flashlights? Notice there are 3 of them here, so 3 by 6. And their permits. And now look at this hoist. You know, they're gonna hoist him with this lift, which has also 6 ribs. So you got 6 ribs. So the Zion has him like yo mother, blah, 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 blah. And then you get to see the 3 lights in the middle, right? 3 lights, and then the 6th. Now, if you remember, I told you that the agents are 3, and then the police officers are 6. So I'm still sticking by the theory here, or the speculation, that Morpheus and the agents is really one the same. What this is here is like you've been bounced from one hand to another, and then you are eventually going to be harvested. That's all. The Kukukowskis know what kind of music to use here. I don't think they're the ones who wrote this script. No, I don't think so. Somebody else did, and maybe it's written by more than one person. Because it references really accurate, or someone who must know Islam very well, or must know the ideas of at least the heretics of the East who were like against Islam and so on, took concepts from Islam and twisted them, and so on and so on. So now you may think that Neo completed his cycle. No, this is a new Neo. It's a clone. He doesn't know what's going on.
Welcome to the real world.
Real world. To him, reality is when you are a machine, when you are cloned, when you are made from cuttings, when you are subdued, when you are controlled, when you are tormented, when you are tortured, and so on and so on, in service of Zion. Am I being anti-Semitic here for saying in service of Zion? That's what this movie is all about. They say genuine child of Zion and Nebuchadnezzar and so on. That's what they're talking about. I'm just quoting them. So for them, that's the real world. The other world is not real. He's done it, Trinity.
We found him.
Oh, he found it. Who did he find? He found the original Neo. That's either now dead or a vigil. Yeah, he knows it. What do you know, Kukukowskis? Oh, that ledger of your account on sperms and embryos and what they produced. Oh, you're gonna have to work eternity to reproduce them back, or to bring them back, or deliver them back. Far from it, he's not dead. But why that physical thing, heart and cloning and so on. I mean, from what we know about Masonic initiations is that's it. You become under control, yes, and you cannot leave, yes, and that's that. Right? Really, you worship Satan and whatnot. But here, what they're trying to say is really, this is, folks, this is the mother of all horrors, if that's the case. What are these? Uh, like those needles with lights, red and blue, actually, attached to him or stuck to him, as if they're sucking up energy from him. Well, as I explained to you, the copper cup, the energy, whether it's energy of devils existing, like siphoning off or absorbing energy from him, or ideas, or, it may be and multidimensional, it may be spiritual, whatever it is. But now he is in use. They attached quite a few of those devils and Morpheuses and, blues and reds. They attached them to him, dependent on him. Why? Because he is the one. He's got energy. He's a giant. He's intelligent. He's a force to be reckoned with. So they pile up a number of those shapeshifters on him, right? And he becomes a useful tool for them. He has no choice. Remember how that machine treated him, choked him and pulled that control rod out of his skull in the back of his head and so on. Well, that's what this is. Now he got like, what I can count, like a couple of hundreds of Morpheuses and agents, right? Maybe they're collaborating, colluding, right? Out of him. In my case, if it's a computer thing, you have to pay for it.
He still needs a lot of work.
He still needs a lot of work. Why? Because he's a clone.
Your muscles have atrophied.
Atrophy. How long has he been there? I don't know. 100 years? Well, Morpheus will mention something about that later, but I am speculating. Meaning I'm trying to read into it and I'm not certain what they mean by that. They are rebuilding his muscles. Now that he's under control, right? Or his clone. Oh, his eyes here, that confirms my conjecture or my approach to it here. Is that they say his eyes hurt, he never used them because he's a clone. He was just like me. So he never used them, meaning he was just cloned, so you never used them. That is literal. Notice how they look into each other. Why? Because they are exchanging the glimpse to say or think that he doesn't know, nor he will ever know. Until the day they kill him. Remember Cypher? What did Cypher say? That they're going to kill him. Oh, the answers are coming. Now you may think, oh, he didn't give any answers before. So now, because now he's a controlled clone and a machine and copperhead and so on, similar to that decapitated figure on top of that electrical machine, right? That produces whatever, here that's very hard to decipher. If it's anything but electricity or energy. Energy, maybe energy, spiritual energy, or whatever energy that is powering those minions and Nephilims and whatnot, the shape-shifting Morpheuses, Rabbi Morpheus. The answers are coming, but I assure you there will be no answers. You will see. I got bad news for you, Kukukowskis. Oh, the architect. He's gonna count on every sperm, on every embryo, and every gene that is cloned, and he wants all of them back. All their generations too. Okay, so they're pulling those needles out of them, the needles with the lights, right? Like garden lights, you stick them in the floor, on the ground, and like they light up your garden. I said they're piled up on him. Maybe these are the 200 or 300 that helped subdue him or clone him or something of the sort. You know, now they're no longer needed. You wouldn't want to be there, even if it was like Neo himself. You wouldn't want to be there. Notice how they disappeared. Did you see how they disappeared? They just vanished in thin air. Notice. Notice how Dozer and Morpheus, Rabbi Morpheus, they just vanish in thin air. You see that? Now they're feeding him by way of serum needle. He's in, you know, what is that? What's going on around me? He doesn't like that. Now I have a little problem here because my pillows were always like that. The same pattern. Was I there? I don't remember. Were they planning on doing that to me? I think so. I am the Chicago guy. Who controls him? Count them, 12 notches. 12 notches is really the 12 tribes of Israel. You know, Levi's, or Lawiyin, or Benjamin, or Judah, or Yehuda, or, you know, they're 12 tribes, right? Now, if you notice, he's sitting in a room of steel. It's like in a submarine, right? Well, this is a hovercraft. What is a hovercraft? Hovercraft is not really, everything here is metaphorical, is a simile. Here they just don't stay in one place, they're always on the move. And they hover, so they're not really walking on earth. Hovering here because they're not real creatures, not humans, not physical. They can transport and they can morph into shapeshift and then fly in the air and hover and so on and so forth. That's the metaphor of what's called the hovercraft, right? But the room he's sitting in is made of steel. Here, what that signifies, or they're trying to impress on you, that he's in a room of steel, in a cage of steel. He cannot leave anymore, right? He's not just changed into something that is really bad, right? Or cloned, or you know, whatever it is. But he's also under heavy control. He will never be out of monitoring, out of observation, and so on, right? Now, what's with the clothes? You see those sweaters, you know, ragged sweaters, and they're damaged and unraveled, and they're old. I mean, who would wear something like that? You may say, oh, you know what? He actually bought those as a second-hand store, from a second-hand store. In Arabic, we call it bang, right? That's not what it is. What it is here is that this set of clothes here has been used by a different clone or a different Neo before him, and many generations back. This here has been used all too often by different Neos. After they kill them, they take their clothes, right? They take whatever they wear and clothes and so on, and use it for the newer idiot or sucker.
What's happening? What is this? What is it? More?
Aha. What he just told him earlier, answers are coming, right? What is happening to me? What is this place? And the answer comes as usual. More important than what is when. Really?
What is when?
Now here, what and when is really in here, but it is also Remember that Egyptian Morpheus I told you about, who's acting as a Muslim scholar? He mentioned something about what and when and if and why, right? What and why. When you say what, he explains it as such. I may actually make a video on that one as well. When he say what, he's talking that's in the Quran, right? When he says what, it is matter. When he says why, or when it is beyond matter, in the world beyond matter, or say other dimension, of spirit and so on, he doesn't use the word what.
You believe
So the dog actually now, that's one, so one.
it's beginning.
99. Heck, I moved to Chicago from Houston in 19 October. What is it? July 1997. No.
It's closer to 21 now.
So it's 100 years later, right? So is that how how long has he been asleep, right? Or as a veggie, and he was woken up again? No, this is a clone, replica, and replication,
I can't tell
simulacra and simulation.
you exactly what year it is because we honestly don't know.
This doesn't make sense to me. What he's trying to say, I think, is time is meaningless, right?
There's nothing I can say that will explain it for you.
See? He told him, you want to see the matrix? You have to see it for yourself. Now he's supposedly in it, right? And he's just never, he will never provide him with an answer. If you want to understand this, this is like total isolation. Take someone, blind them, deafen them, and mute them, right? And then cover them and leave them alone. That's what they're doing to him. And solitary confinement is what I'm talking about. Solitary confinement kills. Not honest.
See for yourself. This is my ship. The Nebuchadnezzar.
It's hovercraft, right? Hovercraft, they're demons as they disappeared. I showed you how they vanished from around Neo and they float in the air, through walls and so on. I have evidence of my senses, visual, hearing, and I have evidence of that.
This is the main deck. This is the core.
All right, so here I'm not the first one to notice that. I think it's Mark 3, number 11. So go check out the Bible, Mark 3 and number 11. I don't want to read it to you now. And Nebuchadnezzar, actually, if you count those, you will see 12 letters. And then the N and R at the end, they're uppercase, right? And then it says here, made in the USA at 2069. But this is not the USA. If you look closely, there is a J or I, Usaj, or Usaj. I don't know what Usaj is. It could be an acronym, of course, but this is not the USA. There is a J at the end, right? Maybe you'll find it in Mark 3, verse or section number 11. I think I read it, and it's talking about some evil and devils and so on. I don't remember.
We broadcast our
So the 12, obviously, either the 12 tribes of Israel, or it could be the 12 Shiites, the Shiitas. Shiitas. Could be the Shiitas, right? And they are actually, because Shiites are the machine of rabbis, right?
signal back into the matrix.
Pirate. So they're pirates, right? They hijack. A bunch of hijackers.
Well,
That's the clone.
Zeta?
So they denote races. So APAC looks to me like he's, I don't know, Spanish, Iranian, Arab. Neo looks like, I'll explain that to you later. switch is probably Russian.
Which?
Uh, Now this guy Cypher, as you can see, all their clothes is like worn out and torn and unraveled and so on, and they have been used time and again. So that's what it is. But now Cypher, I will explain to you, and I will wager that they mean that by that is Muhammad, right? The Prophet Muhammad, or perhaps his companions, one of his companions. I don't know. But here, why am I saying this? Is because cipher, it's really the Arab numeral system, right? Cipher, right? But then he shows a side that tells the truth. He tells you, which is consistent with Islam. You know, he warns you of Satan and he warns you of his tricks and ways and means, evil ways and means, and that you should avoid them, and so on and so forth. And he speaks of the rabbis as being his pawns, and right. So this guy, supposedly he's going to break ranks and establish something called Islamdom, which is really the map that he called the carcass, right? Here, this little weirdo, right? But I assure you that when I know the Prophet and I know his history and so on, he never was part of anything that is Zionistic, right? But I'm speculating. Because later, if you watch the movie, he cohorts with the agents.
What? You don't know? Speak a little bit.
These never seen until now. Why? You will see in a minute. Mouse. I don't know what mouse is.
You wanted to know what the Matrix is in the Trinity.
I mean, he's gone this far just to know what the Matrix is. Huh, man. Oh, goodness. If that's Neo, but I assure you this is no longer Neo. This is his clone. Uh-oh. They want to do it. Now, if I was Neo and they did all that to me and they want to put me on the chair and do it again, oh, man, I would be too scared. What else they will do? But, of course, this is a movie and the Kukukowskis are expressing some vile notions and feelings and intuitions. Oh, notice the seed. It's like as if it is some kind of a creature, you know, here and so on. So the problem is, why are they doing that to him? You know, so he cannot move or run away or something of the sort. The guy so far has been in jail, nothing else really, in solitary confinement, tormented and tortured. Sounds like gulags to me, but only by yourself. Oh yeah, we've seen that before, right? Just a little earlier. Ah, it's painful.
This is the construct. It's our loading program.
Mm-hmm. Remember the construct and the loading program. I will show you again what it means.
You can load anything from clothing, equipment, weapons, training simulator.
That's a division of Zion. Mossad maybe? I don't know.
Anything.
And they're all over there. Mainly investors and bankers. And arm dealers and drug smugglers. You name it, right? They just don't know how to do the real work. Notice, his tie is green, right? He's black, he's wearing black, right? That means, usually the black means a rabbi, right? When you're wearing black. But the tie of green here means this, that in the construct or in the matrix, supposedly, he is masquerading as a Muslim. Why? Because the tie, color of tie is green and the tie was invented by the Arabs. the Arabs of Europe, actually. It was invented by the Arabs of Europe. They called it ribata or corbata, or and then in there. Somebody say it's Croatia, that's not true. But he knows, they know that Kukakowski is Croatian. Okay, we see the same two chairs again.
Okay. Is it really so hard to believe? Your clothes are different, the plugs in your arms and head are gone.
So now his brain has been washed from functions, unlike the original Neo, his originator, right? That guy, like I said, is gone, but this guy his brain has been reduced by chemical reactions. Similar, you know how you saw that syringe and needle, you know, he was stabbed by it, by that machine. So it kind of reduced his brain functionality into something that you can induce by way of thinking.
Your hair has changed. Your appearance now is what we call residual self-image.
Aha, residual self-image. Remember, what is the residual self-image? It's really whatever he retained from his originator, or father, if you will. Originator, that is Neo. Now he is seeing himself, but he's not Neo. That's what he's telling him. Residual self-image, he's seeing himself as Neo. Partially, right? So why am I looking like this and so on? Well, that's residual self-image. It stayed from Neo's, real Neo.
The mental projection.
It was carried over, you know, transmitted along with the process. It's a mental projection
The digital self.
of your digital self, of your, you know, like, of yourself, you know, like something remains. Those two chairs again, like I explained to you earlier, they're red, and the cat figure tells you that, you know, cat is just does what it does, and so on, and it's a predator and aloof and doesn't care. But what is the TV? The TV is here in this book. He says that you're not being, you just don't watch the TV. It also watches you, right? That is true. So here, you will see here in that little decal here, or this box here, you will see the letter AWA, right? AWA. You will see that later. I will point you to it. So the TV is monitoring them. So this clone is being watched, you know, and assessed and evaluated for behavior and thoughts and abilities and so on. And after all, after he's been cloned, he's really never been out except the minutes and moments, or the so on, like the minutes that he's been above the hovercraft, right? So he really now looking at things and sensing things, right? For the first time.
What is real? How do you define real?
Really? So when somebody comes and tells you to define real and undefine real, that's a problem. He's leading you into something really, really bad.
Because we're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, and taste, and see. Then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by
Yeah, they're trying to convince you that luxury is meaningless. Indulgence and luxuries, life, affluent lifestyle, and is meaningless. He's preparing him for something that's really terrible. I'll show you what that is.
this is the world that you know. The world as it was at the end of the 20th century.
That's in the 1999, right?
It exists now only as part of the world interactive
That's not true. Has not changed.
simulation that we call the Matrix. He's been living in a dream world, Neo.
Oh no. Neo probably is, because he's a clone and he's isolated and basically empty by way of, you know, his faculty has been diminished intentionally, mechanically or chemically by chemicals, by whatever it is, and by isolation. We humans learn by experience and interaction. When we are born just blank, right? Well, that's not true always.
This is the world as it exists today.
Why? Because Morpheus and his Zion just destroyed it, basically, financially. It was just destroyed. Now, what he means by that is the way you see it. You see buildings, you see so and so, but really, humanity has been totally changed into a minced meat by Morpheus. And if Cloning's story is true, and I now have a reason to believe that there's something like that, that means that humanity itself has been totally destroyed, right? But the buildings still stand. Those buildings, they still stand.
Look to the desert. Up with you.
That is a passage, I think, word for word in that book, Simulacra and Simulation.
We have only bits and pieces of information.
Uh-huh. They don't have full record of, what they. So the intelligence of humanity has been largely destroyed by the Morpheuses. Yes, the shapeshifters, Rabbi Morpheus,
But what we know
and his edifice and his crew as well, motley crew.
for certain is that at some point in the early 21st century, all
That's like 20 years ago. 2012 is really.
mankind was united in celebration. We marveled at our own magnificence as we gave birth to AI.
AI, that's Neo, his originator or his father.
A singular consciousness that spawned an entire race of machines.
Spawn. Does that sound familiar to you? Spawning fish. A fish doesn't give birth, it spawns an entire race of machines. So when you observed or looked at Neo being in that incubation pod, and there are millions of them, that's Neo, which they consider an AI, right? Artificial intelligence. The Morpheus, Rabbi Morpheus, doesn't look at anybody outside of his blood relationship, well, not blood relationship or something, devil relationship, right? As a human being, they look at us as a human, as humans, as artificial intelligence. You understand? So now that Neo, which they consider a artificial intelligence, you should use them and abuse them, and then take off their offspring, spawn an entire race of machines. One of which is this particular clone Neo that he's talking to, or he's like indoctrinating or trying to achieve like total control. He's already under control, but now there's still the mind, right?
We don't know who struck first.
He is basically now what you call subconsciously awakening him from his just clone state, right? But into something that serves him, not just the blue color, right?
Us and them. But we
And he also, I think they also use him or them to clone.
know that it was us that scorched the sky.
Yeah, well, he knows who started, right? If there's any speculation about that, let me know, and I will provide you with explanation, right? And evidence of facts and so on. But he scorched the sky and he scorched the earth and so on. That may also be a reference to what they make a history, false history of, that there was a war, right, in heavens between angels and so on. You get it, right? Which is not true.
At the time, we were dependent on solar power heavily.
Oh, they were dependent on solar power. Solar power here, I don't. You see, again, now he confuses you about energy and power and copperhead and so on. I don't think solar power here means it means the Satan, because I told you earlier that the Prophet said, Prophet Muhammad peace be upon him said that the sun rises between the two horns of Satan, right, in the morning, and I think it sits as well. So he forbade prayers during those 3 times. One when it's exactly at zenith or sun, one when it rises just above the horizon, and one when it sets just above the horizon. So I think sun's energy, right? So what he's talking about is that the energy and giving and administration of the sun. Sometimes they confuse God for the sun, or the other guy and so on. They're just confused, man. They're just their ideas and their intuition is so mangled.
Believe that they would be unable to survive.
Because they disconnected from the sun, or supposedly Satan, right?
Without an energy source that's abundant as the sun. Throughout human history, we have been dependent on machines to survive.
Machines to survive. He just stated a little bit earlier that AI, which is Neo, the original Neo, spawned an entire race of machines, right? And now they are dependent on them to survive, because Rabbi Morpheus just can't survive on his own.
Fate, it seems, is not without a sense of irony.
Aha, fate is not without the sense of irony. Yeah, it's funny, man. Remember when he told him he doesn't believe in fate because he doesn't want to uh, uh, think that he's not in control of his own life? How about that? Now we come full circle, right? And he's talking about fate.
The human body generates more bioelectricity than a woman.
Yeah, we're talking electricity. I sometimes I wonder if it's real. I don't think so. The way I see things, I don't know. Here where my senses stop. Is he telling the truth? Sometimes I want to believe him, sometimes I don't, right?
21 battery and 25,000 BTUs. But combined with
Notice the insects, right?
the form of fusion,
Fusion. Maybe they're in the process of doing that, and then this movie illustrates or expresses, by way of metaphor, what they're trying to do and achieve. I don't think they'll get there. But if you notice, there are like ants as well as seems to be like spiders, maybe, I don't know. And here, this particular stint or scene is very ugly. Oh, that gives me puts anger in me. It lights up anger in me.
the machines have found all the energy they would ever
Machines, right? Now this is the same thing as cloning, but like this is apparently out of sperms.
There are fields, endless fields,
Let me show you something.
endless fields, where human beings are no longer born.
Okay, I want to show you something. Let me pause it. So you will see here that those babies, those fetuses, right? That's a fetus. That's disturbing, man. As you will observe, he also has the same wires connected to him, the back of his head and so on, right?
Combined with a form of fusion, the machines found all the energy they would ever.
So if you look closely, you will see that it's exactly the scene is replicated from Neo to these infants with insects. Who are the insects? I don't know. But what do they do with those infants? Now I know they're cloning, the Jeff Epstein, excuse me, the Jeff Epsteins and so on and so forth. They clone, right? And they do take parts and whatnot. That trade by Rabbi Morpheus is so ugly. That's what they're saying here, really. You may think I'm accusing them of things that are not there, or imagining things, or making baseless allegations or accusations. That's not true. That's what this movie is saying. in those fields, right?
Humans are human beings and no longer born. Even born.
Oh, oh, you're gonna burn. Oh, man. Where is that at? Because we know we don't see it on Earth. Is it below Earth? Is it on a different planet? Huh? You know?
For the longest time, I believed thinking it. And then I saw fields with my own. Watched them liquefy the dead so
That's ugly, folks.
it could be fit.
That's something you get out of this book. How he instructs his uh, Neos and Morpheuses and whatnot, you know, and Tank and so on, of what to do with other humans or with the humans.
What an intravenous message. I'm standing there, facing
You see?
the pure horrifying.
You see? He's got the same connections as those of Neo when he was being cloned. Poor baby.
I think you realize the obviousness of the truth.
Ah, see? Same part. Now here I'm gonna step back and say, I am seeing, right? I am seeing, so when I told you it was a cloning, it could have been cloning by sperm, right? The fetus. And then you got your sexes, right? And then all these sperms, as I mentioned earlier. So it may not be cloning by way of cell, rather cloning by way of artificial insemination. You know, those sperms are taken and created and so on. And that's what he's saying. He is clarifying what was being said before. The word is cloning, right? The word is cloning. But it could be artificial insemination as well.
What is the matrix?
What is the matrix? Right? I mean, he's got like Neo spawned an entire race, right? But what they still have to yet to tell him what is the matrix. It's masonry.
Control. The matrix is a computer generated.
Yeah, it's not even human. It's artificial intelligence, and it's computer generated. So don't even think about becoming human. Dream world, right? Notice when he's saying that, Neo's reflections is in his glasses, right? Now the glasses here, his sunglasses do change from tinted to mirrored.
Built to keep us under control. Or to change.
But notice, he's not talking, Rabbi Morpheus is not talking about himself, he's talking about Neo. Why? Because Neo is being reflected. Similar to him being reflected in the sunglasses as his being, that's your decision. Into this, right? Did you see that decapitated figure I showed you as Neo and Trinity entered onto the room where this winged figure was? Rabbi Morpheus, shapeshifter, right? And then it was decapitated and it appeared as if it is a machine, you know, above the machine that is producing energy for him. What is the energy? Again, I do not know. It could be subliminal energy, it could be just ideas, it could be intelligence, it could be anything, or it could be multidimensional. Really, these guys cannot exist unless they are next to us, so they keep absorbing our energy. The spiritual or non-material energy that we possess, right?
No. I don't believe it. It's so possible. I didn't say it would be easy. I just said it would be the truth. Stop. Let me out! Let me out!
That's it. He wants out, huh?
I want out!
You feel better?
Yes.
Shut up.
Just breathe.
Okay, I will stop here now. And then we'll continue tomorrow on tape number 6 or video number 6.